guys, it's Kathleen from COZ Creations. Welcome back. I am so glad that you guys are here. Here we are. Glad you guys could join me. I want to start out by saying thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the wonderful comments and likes and views that I got on my first video. I was overwhelmed. I am so grateful. I'm doing this because I love painting and I love to be able to share some of my ideas and my thoughts with y'all, and I'm over the moon, guys, and I want to reach out and tell you all that I'm very, very grateful. So that being said, we're going to move on. We are going to be working on a 15 by 30 inch gallery wrap canvas today, and I'm going to be doing one of my favorite types of painting. I'm going to be doing a swipe. I'm going to be doing what I call my Courtney swipe. You all have heard me speak of her before, and you'll hear me speak of her again. Courtney Hoelscher from Courtney Hoelscher's Art. I found her, I've been painting since February of this year, towards the end of January, February of this year. And a few months into it, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do any more ring pours. I don't want to do any more funnel pours, tunnel pours, whatever kind of pours. I want something that's a little bit more abstract. And I found Courtney on YouTube, and I probably watched every single one of her videos 2 or 3 times. And I practiced and I practiced. And one day it just kind of happened, and I got it, and I was so grateful, and I reached out to her and let her know how grateful I was. And then later this year in the summertime, I actually went down and paid a visit to her and got to see her art up close and personal and touch it and buy it and spend a little bit of time with her. So I'm doing a Courtney swipe today, if that's okay with you. So I've already prepped my canvas. I prepped it with my Artist Loft Flow acrylics in black, and I mix all my paints with 75% Floetrol and 25% GAC 800. That pouring medium works really, really well for me. My first video, I told you how when I put my paints, my base coat down on my canvas, after I get my top section, my right section, and my left section done and kind of tilted off so it covers the sides, then I pour the remainder of my paint kind of off the top. And then I tilt it by using a couple of cups here. I've already done that. The reason I do that is that I don't want an overabundance of my base coat, especially on my swipes. I just wanted enough that my paints glide over it really well. And another thing that I do for my paint consistencies, people ask me, how much paint to pouring medium. It's probably about 50-50. It's hard for me. I've just gotten to a point where I pour my pouring medium into the cup after I've added my paints, and I stir, and I go by the way that it feels. Karen Durson called it, the way she described it was, when it pours off your stick, it's kind of like warm honey. And when I pour it from my cup onto my canvas, if my paint ripples as I'm laying it out, I know that my paint's a little bit too thick for me. Now that's just my preference. I like it to be more silky and smooth, like warm honey, or I can kind of compare it to when I pour my shampoo into the palm of my hand. It's just very creamy and silky, and that's the way I like my base coat and all of my paints to be. So not gloppy. If it's glopping as you're pouring it onto your canvas, guys, it might be a little bit too thick. So I hope that helps. So let's talk about the colors that we're using today. Oh, before that, I want to show you my little trick. we know how expensive larger canvases can be, especially if you go to the higher level of canvases. And paint can be very expensive as well. So when I'm working on a larger canvas, which is more expensive and also takes a lot more paint that we don't want to waste, we don't want to scrape off, I do a little trial run. After I get my paints all ready and my canvas ready, I apply a little bit of the base coat to these very inexpensive canvases. I'm sorry guys if there's a little bit of glare. I think it's because I'm working on with a black base coat today, so I'll learn how to master that a little bit better as well. But Michael's and Home Depot, every once in a while they sell those packages of like 10 of the small inexpensive canvases, the ones with the stapled backs. And whenever they're on sale and I have my 40% coupon, I grab them. And if I'm working on a large canvas, I like to do a trial run. So I applied a little bit of my base coat on this canvas, and then I lined up the paints that I'm getting ready to swipe with, and I put them in different orders so I could see how each paint kind of reacted with the other. And on this canvas, one of the paints I'm using is a metallic copper, and I found that it selled up a little bit more to my liking. I hope that you can see that there. So I decided that I'm going to go really easy with it, or maybe I might not use it at all. I haven't quite made that decision yet. But this is a really handy thing to do when you're working on a big canvas. So I thought I'd share that with you. So the colors we're working with today is Decoart Metallic. I'm using the teal color. I'm also using Decoart Metallic. This is the, this is the Antique Bronze, which is a beautiful color, and I mixed a little bit of the golden iridescent gold into it. Just a couple of dropfuls, kind of sparked it up just a little bit. Now when I'm mixing two colors together, I pour them both into my cup before I add any pouring medium, and I mix them up really good. I add a little bit of pouring medium, mix it again, and then I add enough pouring medium for it to get to the right consistency. That's the way that those two colors kind of intertwine real well with each other. The next color is Decoart Zinc, which is a really rich silver, and I enjoy this color a lot. I wanted to add a little bit of the golden silver to it, but unfortunately I was all out. So we're going to give this guy a try. And then the final color we are using is the Decoart Metallic, and this is the Pearl. I use it all the time. It's a great color. It's a heavy density paint, so it generally takes a little bit more pouring medium to get to that nice warm honey consistency. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the Pearl. Nice thin line, and I'm going to go back with that one more time. Next we'll try this teal. And let's go ahead and try it on this side as well. Now let's do this pretty pewter. Now, I'm still on the fence about this copper. I'm afraid it's going to just sell up so much, and I don't know that I want that. So I think I'm going to hold off on this copper color. What do you think, guys? I wish you could talk to me. let's hold off. Let's hold off. We'll just go with those 3 colors for now. Now my tool of choice today is my damp paper towel. What I do is I cut off sections of them. I take my little misting spray bottle that you have here, and I give the bottom of the paper towel a little bit of a mist, and I usually do it on both sides. Now I like to swipe in different sizes of paper towels, so I'm going to show you that here this evening. We're going to start with this big one, and I'm kind of going to go off center with it. I'm going to use the pearl color as my swipe color, and I'm going to ease my paper towel down into that pearl color, and then I'm going to work my hands kind of up to the top of this paper towel so I get some good control. I let it lay down just a little bit before I slowly drag it. Now we'll take that one all the way to the end, but sometimes I like to stop my swipes a little short of the edge of the canvas. I'm going to reuse this. Grab some of that pearl, kind of swish it down into the paint a little bit, and go ahead and drag it. Slowly down. Very nice. Nice color combination, guys. I'm glad that we held off on using that copper color. Now I'm better at swiping down than I am swiping towards me, but this canvas is kind of large, and I don't want to drop it. I don't want it to get paint all over me. I'm going to add a little bit more of that pearl through here. And we'll take it down this side as well. I'm going to bring this one towards me. Now I like to swipe kind of off center when I'm doing it in sections, so we're going to put this one kind of right down in the middle. Work your hands up to the top of the paper towel, kind of lay it down a little bit, and swipe. Voila. Now what I usually do is I grab my scissors, and I'm off camera here, but I use my scissors to cut out different sizes of the paper towel that I want to use, and we're going to use this baby right down here in the middle, and we're going to overlap the swipe to the right and to the left. Now, one thing you'll learn when you practice your swipes, well, first of all, I want to tell you, when you're done swiping, I learned this the hard way, bring your swiping tool around your canvas. Don't pass it over the end, because if there's a lot of paint on the end of your paper towel, you'll get some drips. Although the drips can be really, really nice. One thing that you're going to learn when you start practicing your swipes, as I did, was sometimes I like to stop my swipe and leave this black negative space at the bottom or the top of my canvas. But there's only certain times that you can do that. You're going to learn how to understand the weight that your paper towel is getting from the paint that it's dragging. I didn't use a lot of paint when I laid it down, which means as I'm dragging my paper towel across the canvas, you'll be able to tell if there's a lot of excess in front of that paper towel. If there is, you're almost forced to bring your paper towel to the edge of the canvas because your paint needs some place to exit. in this scenario, I didn't use a lot of paint, and I can tell by the weight of my paper towel as I'm dragging it along the canvas. So I can stop my swipe midway so that I leave more negative space. I hope that makes sense, guys. Here we go. We're going to take this guy over here off this edge. Kind of jiggle him a little bit. Make sure he's laying down there in those paints. And bring him down towards the base. Now I apply a little bit of extra pressure on my side. That's because as the weight of the paint gets onto the paper towel, sometimes that weight gets pulled down the right side and you end up kind of swiveling off your canvas over here. Those are pretty colors. Let's go ahead and cut ourselves another piece of paper towel. And let's bring it right down through here. Now, once again, when you're doing a swipe, you have the option to grab another one of the colors and use that as the swiping color. But I'm going to be consistent. Now, I can tell that there's not a lot of paint on my paper towel. So I'm going to flip that baby up and leave some negative space down here. Now when I spray my paper towels, I put them on a flat surface. You want them to stay straight on the edge or you're going to have a hard time laying it down in that swipe color if it's all crunched up and stuff. Lift it up, leave that negative space, gives it more of an abstract look. Let's take this guy off the edge. Remember, give a little extra support to the side that's off the edge of the canvas so it doesn't slide off that edge. Cut myself a smaller piece. I hope I don't talk too much, guys. Somebody told me I did. You know what? I think that's a little bit too small. Let's go with a bit of a bigger piece. If you don't apply your paper towel to kind of overlap on both sides, the right and the left, you get a little dip down the middle. Some people like that. Sometimes I like it as well, but in this case I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to make sure that my paper towel overlaps the swipe I already did on the right and the left side. Let's go ahead and stop him short as well, because I like this negative space. Let's give this baby a torch. I like that white center. Now, a lot of times when I mix my teals and my blacks together, they really sell up. Sometimes that's nice, sometimes you don't want it. Let's see if we can get it to do that here. I think that's looking pretty good. We got some cells coming on here. I'm funny about cells. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with them. Sometimes I'm grateful for them, sometimes I'm not. I'm going to get my little line tool, and I think I'm going to put a little bit of black down the center to accentuate that that white line a little bit. It's a little rubbery black something tool. I use it to scrape my canvases if I'm unhappy with them. I don't know what it's actually used for, but I'm going to take a little bit of my base coat, which I have here, and I'm just going to put it right down here on my my little pee-pee pad. I tried to clean up my workspace. Heather Mader from Heather Mader's Art said, Kathleen, you got to keep your workspace a little tidier. So I hope it looks a little bit tidier. I'm just going to kind of dip that in there, not too much. And let's go ahead and add that little line in there. That's kind of cool, huh? I wipe it off after every time because sometimes the base coat color, or in this case the white, actually that's not white, that's the pearl. The pearl will get on your little tool that you're using. Now, if you ever put your lines down and you freak out because they're a little bit too thick or there's too much going on, just give it a second, because a lot of times the paint will sink down, especially if it's a little, if it's not as heavy as the paint below it. That's another thing we need to talk about, is consistency of our paints. The metallics, for example, they're pretty heavy bodied compared to the golden fluid. So when I'm using some heavy body paints with some more fluid paints, I always start with my fluid paints and I mix them up and I get them to the consistency that I'm looking for when they pour off the popsicle stick. Then I move on to my heavy body paints and I mix them last because I need to get them down to the consistency of my high flow paints, if that makes sense. They generally take a little bit more water, a little bit more pouring medium. You want all your paints to be the same consistency. At least I do on my swipes. If not, the heavier body paints are going to sink to the bottom. Now, that can also give you a really cool effect, but those are the kind of things you want to pay attention to. Things that you want to experiment and learn and take notes from. That's how you kind of get better at this, by just paying attention to what your paints are telling you, because they're talking to you. They talk to me all the time. They talk to me when I'm sleeping. Now, you don't have to keep that line down the center. You also don't have to take it the whole way. Let's go ahead and maybe accentuate a line or two down here. About right here. Now, I don't want to jump and take that line down or join it up with this one. To me, that would make it look a little bit too placed. You can use a popsicle stick, you can use a wooden skewer, you can use whatever you have, a piece of plastic. This feels right in my hand, so I'm real happy that I found that. And it's bendable. If you wanted to add an arc somewhere, this is flexible enough for you to bend. So it's a little scraping tool. I don't know what it is. Auto something scraping tool, maybe. Let's put something right in through here below that other line. There we go. And something little jump out right through here. Now you can also do this with your lighter color. If you didn't want to add the black, you can incorporate your champagne color in there. Let's do one more. How about, let's accentuate this existing line that's right there. Voila, there you go. Let's give this baby one more torch. And then we'll, oh my goodness, what the heck is that? Oh my, that fell off the bottom of my torch. Did you see that, guys? Oh my, that's okay, we can fix that. I'm glad that happened. I can show you what to do. Hopefully. Okay. Let's go ahead and get our paper towel. Can you see that? Stick it in that champagne color and let's move across that little boo-boo real slow. That's bringing up a little bit of that teal, but that's okay. Voila, all gone. But you know what? That second swipe brought that teal color up, and that's real pretty. So let's cut off this part. Well, let's just get a new one. And let's see if we can bring that teal color up over and through here. A lot of times when you swipe more than once, you bring a whole nother interest in. Let's go kind of slow. Well, it's bringing up some of that black. Oh, there's that teal. I hope my big head's not in the way, guys. Actually, I have a very small head. I can't wear hats. I hate the way I look when I jump into a swimming pool. It's like a Beetlejuice head. That's nice. I like that. Let's do it one more time. How about right in here? You gotta play, guys. I mean, that's how you learn. That's how you make something your own. You gotta play, you gotta experiment. Oh, that's pretty. And let's bring that up a little sooner than later. Well, there you have it. Now, when I say goodbye to you, I'll probably play with this a little bit more. I'll clean up my sides, maybe add a few more lines, but I promise that when it dries, I'll share a picture with you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Do me a favor though, in your comments, if there's something I didn't cover, or if there's something I went over a little bit too quickly, or if there's something you want me to do, if you want to shout out a color scheme or a style of painting, if I can do it, I'll do it. That's what it's about. This channel is about you guys. So reach out to me, tell me what you need to know, tell me if I know it, I'll teach it to you. If I don't know it, I'll find out and I'll experiment with it so that I can share it with you. You guys have a wonderful evening. God bless and happy painting to each and every one of you. Bye now.